This is the Matrixx Hour with John Matrixx. Pop culture, news, and reviews. Buckle up for the ride. Here is John Matrixx.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me on episode number 7 of the Matrixx Hour. And we have a good one today. We really have a good episode coming today on this topic. And I guess you can say this topic has been pretty much a year in the making, or at least, 2-3 months in the making. I'm pretty sure by now most people know about the college admissions scandal that broke out. In case you don't know about that scandal, it involved pretty much powerful people in Hollywood or rich people in powerful positions, whether they be, executives, maybe some CEOs of some companies, I really don't know. But mainly I'm focusing on Hollywood celebrities. Hollywood celebrities. They thought that their money and their influence could actually get their kids into colleges on scholarships for a sport that their kids had never done. Yeah, I'm dead serious. And several Hollywood actors have already pled guilty. Actually, one of them had pled guilty. Felicity Huffman, she pled guilty. She's supposed to do, I believe, 90 days in jail, if I'm not mistaken. And she only ended up doing, I believe, 11 days. And she got out. And of course, you got to do community service and stuff, but pretty much nothing happened to her. She pretty much got off scot-free. She really did. And her husband, William H. Macy, he wasn't even charged, I believe. I don't know how you can actually get one parent and not the other, but I digress. That's probably a whole different story for another day. This just tells me, this scandal, that parents, I guess, really don't care much about their kids, because the victims in this college admissions scandal is the children. I guess they're really not kids since they're over 18, but still. These actors, it is their children who is going to suffer. And it's going to be a lot of public embarrassment. It really is. So Lori Loughlin, she decided that she was going to plead not guilty at first, months ago. And I think it was going to go to trial and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, the coronavirus pandemic happens. I saw this coming. I really did. When it comes to Lori Loughlin, I'm going to get to that in just a moment. So Lori Loughlin is deciding that she's going to fight this. And I believe if she was found guilty, she was going to end up doing many years in jail. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they said she's probably looking at something like 10 to 20 years in jail if she was convicted. And if you look at the Felicity Huffman case, you're probably thinking, why doesn't Lori Loughlin go down that route? Maybe Lori Loughlin didn't want the public embarrassment and the public shame of being someone involved in this case and going to jail. Maybe she didn't want to be seen in a prison jumpsuit, because there's photos out there of Felicity Huffman in a prison jumpsuit. Maybe she was just too prideful. Maybe she was just too shameful. Maybe she thought that her money could actually get her off. Well, the problem is her money is what actually got her in trouble. This whole college admissions scandal is all about money. I know that my kids, they may not have a talent for this particular sport, but I have money. So when I have money, you put them on scholarship. And there's a whole bunch of ins and outs to this thing. Is a whole lot more ins and outs than I actually know about. It was a complete It was a really, really good hijacking of the system, to tell you the truth. So basically the way it worked is if you had, let's say you're rich and you have a son or daughter and you want them to get into a particular school, they were actually saying that, hey, little Johnny here, he's a baseball player. So he ends up going to that school on a baseball scholarship, even though he's never played baseball before. And some of these weren't, just baseball, basketball, football. They were actually more like rowing or, being on a cricket team or something like that. Swimming. It wasn't really just the sports where it would attract a lot of attention. It wasn't the three major sports in college, baseball, basketball, football. But I really have to wonder about our institutions of higher learning actually allowing this to happen. I mean, you've had coaches that were in on this and they have lost their jobs or they're doing prison time. But Lori Loughlin is one lucky lady. She has now opened up her eyes and she's actually going to plead guilty to one charge. And it's also not just her, but also her husband. He's a fashion designer, and I'm going to butcher his name. Mosimo Gianluli. I think that's the way you pronounce it. I'm not real sure. They have decided to plead guilty in the college admissions scandal that has loomed over them for about a year. Now, it says here, although the date of the expected guilty plea has not yet been determined, the Massachusetts District Attorney's Office announced on Thursday that Loughlin will plead guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, while her husband will plead guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud and to honest services wire and mail fraud. Now, the judge actually hasn't accepted the terms of their plea agreement, but if so, Lori Loughlin would be looking at 2 months and pay a $150,000 fine, along with 2 years of supervised release and 100 hours of community service. Her husband would serve 5 months in prison, pay a $250,000 fine, with 2 years of supervised release and 250 hours of community service. Now, we all know that she's very fortunate that she's getting this, because from what I've heard, that if she actually didn't do this, she was looking at many years in prison. But however, once again, power and influence and money is going to basically get her off scot-free. Yes, $150,000, that's pocket change. That is pocket change to an actress like her. I know she's been on Fuller House. She's also been on the Hallmark Channel. I think she's going to be just fine. So the fines are nothing to them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually pay for their daughter to get in. I think they pay something like $500,000 to get their daughter in a school. So, they have money just to play with. I mean, really, honestly, to tell you the truth, for $500,000, you probably just could have, paid her tuition upright. But maybe her daughter didn't have the grades to actually get into the school she wanted to get into. Maybe so. I mean, why do people think they have to go to a prestigious college? It doesn't matter. If you don't have the smarts to actually get into a school, that's fine. Accept it. Go to another school. Me, myself, I know that I can never get into Harvard. I never could. I mean, even if I did have the smarts, I think Harvard only accepts like 3%, and that's pretty much it. A very tough school to get into. But Lori Loughlin, in all likelihood, will probably not even do 2 months in prison. Like I said, Felicity Huffman did just 11 days, and that was it. But Lori Loughlin may actually be helped by the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, look around. Do you think that the state of Massachusetts actually really wants her to report to prison during the coronavirus pandemic? We've seen a lot of states actually release prisoners. And I'm talking about hardcore prisoners. I'm not talking about like white collar crimes like this one. I'm talking about guys that they say they're nonviolent, but people that are in jail for armed robbery, drug abuse, they're letting these people out. So why would they want to waste their time with a nonviolent prisoner like Lori Loughlin and her husband when the pandemic is going on? I'm willing to bet, if she is sentenced to 2 months, I only think she's going to be there a week. And then they're going to let her go because of concerns about the coronavirus. And I'm pretty sure she has very, very smart lawyers. And I'm pretty sure her lawyers already planned this. They're going to petition for her release because of fear of her actually getting the bug. It is. She's not going to do really hardly any time in prison. And a lot of these people that have the money, they have the fame, they have the glitz and the glamour, are not going to do very much time. And chances are Lori Loughlin is going to actually end up going back to her career. It may not be overnight, but Hollywood, in this case, I believe really would forgive her and she would go back to work. Now, if she actually did some type of a violent crime, that would be different. I'm talking about something like physical violence, even though I think she's done a lot of damage to her own family. I mean, honestly, if I was her daughter, I don't know how I can actually forgive her. Maybe I would, but the embarrassment that she put on her daughter, it's really, really bad. But I think her daughter is going to be quite fine because her daughter actually has a pretty big YouTube channel. I think she has something like 500,000 subs, and she is an influence on YouTube. So her daughter's going to be fine financially because she has a YouTube career. But the rich and the powerful, they always think they can get away with everything. And pretty much Lori Loughlin proves that they can. Because the sentence is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. She's basically getting away with murder. I can guarantee you this. I mean, if it was me and I tried to do this to my kid, they'd probably have me under jail. But in all honesty, I don't have that kind of money anyway to buy my kid into a college. I don't. And this should make people really concerned about the college system. Is college the end all be all? I don't think so. And this is coming from a guy that has an undergraduate degree and a master's degree. But I still don't think that college is the end all be all. If you don't get into a certain college, it's not a big deal. But this is coming from someone that is not in the Hollywood bubble. I think that Hollywood, they have expectations, unrealistic expectations for them and their family. I think they do these kind of things because not only that they can, it's probably expected in the Hollywood bubble. I mean, they can actually brag about their kids getting into USC or Stanford. And I think that has a lot of weight to them in their world because we already told you Hollywood celebrities do not live in the real world. They want to be different. They want to have the glitz and the power and the fame. They love that. They crave that because we give it to them. And once again, this sentence, what they're probably going to get, is just proving it once again. But Lori Loughlin is just one step smarter, I guess, than everybody else by pleading guilty now because of the coronavirus pandemic. I'm willing to bet she's actually going to do no time in prison. None. There's talk about her actually being able to push back her reporting date to prison. If I was her, I wouldn't even push it back because she'll probably say, let's go right now, because chances are prisons are concerned about the coronavirus pandemic. They're probably just going to let me out immediately, or they're going to just let me do a few days and then I can get out of there. And if I have really good lawyers, they're going to be pushing for me to get out immediately. And chances are she'll be pushed out and let go immediately. Now, from what I understand, she lives in California and she would actually have to go to prison in Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. So that's just another, tangling web right there that she would need to get through. But I don't see the state of Massachusetts actually bringing her in for those 2 months. I don't. Not at a time when they're releasing prisoners from prison because of concerns about the coronavirus. Shocking, I guess, but not really. Once I saw Felicity Huffman's sentence, and I knew if Lori Loughlin pleaded guilty, that she would probably, get something similar to Felicity Huffman. And when Felicity Huffman actually got out of prison, Felicity Huffman did some very, very hard time. It was so hard being in prison for 11 days. I hope she didn't drop the soap. Maybe she did. But seriously, though, I'm being sarcastic on that. If I was Lori Loughlin, I'd be jumping for joy right now. Because her prison sentence could have been years. And she's only really going to do days. Only going to do days. She probably should have pled guilty immediately. But once Felicity Huffman decided to plead guilty and basically do no time, basically paid out pocket change, she should have just pled guilty after that. Now, if I was in a similar circumstance, and I'm not saying a college admissions scandal, I would be more worried about the fine than the time. Because even if I got sentenced to, 2 months in prison and I got out in a week, that's probably no big deal. But if I was forced to pay $150,000 fine, that'll probably be a problem for me. Because I'm just an average Joe. I don't get Hollywood income. But Lori Loughlin can easily pay this off. Her and her husband can easily pay off the $250,000. She can. And let's just see here what Lori Loughlin's net worth is. Okay? Let's just see here. Lori Loughlin has a net worth. And of course, every time you look at these articles here, it always makes you go through all of this and everything. And it doesn't exactly tell you until you get way to the bottom. So I have to scroll way to the bottom here. It says that Lori Loughlin has an estimated net worth of $8 million in 2019. So, and her husband, okay? Her husband also, because since they're married, this guy's super rich, okay? Her husband was reported to have a net worth of $80 million in 2019. So between both of them, Lori Loughlin, $150,000 fine, her husband, $250,000 fine, and together they're worth almost $90 million. They're going to be just fine. They're getting off scot-free. And her husband is not going to do the 5 months either. He'll probably also do about a week in prison. Of course, when they go on camera, they're going to probably get the sad face. They're going to be remorseful. But I'm pretty sure deep down inside, they're not remorseful. They're just upset that they got caught. That's it. This just proves that, money can buy you anything. And apparently it can buy them getting out of prison. But we've seen, many people get locked up for much longer for doing less of a crime. I mean, we've seen people go to jail for years just because of a little weed. These people completely exposed and corrupted the college system and are only going to do about a week in prison. That's it. Now, I believe the ringleader of all of this was some guy, I don't even remember his name. He's probably not going to get off because he was really the architect of the whole thing. But I'm pretty sure that he didn't have the fame. Like right now, I can't even remember his name. But I know Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman. They got the money. And Felicity Huffman's husband, William H. Macy, he's a big name. He can get away with a whole bunch of things because he has the money and the power. And it's very, very sad that even the court system is still looking down on the average Joe and letting the rich and famous get away pretty much with whatever they want to get away with. These people have corrupted the college system and are going to do basically no time. And you know that their career is going to get back in order. No doubt about it. Because this is Hollywood. Felicity Huffman, she's going to get work. I'm pretty sure she's still going to get work. I wonder if she actually has any upcoming movies that are going to be released. I'm pretty sure that she probably does have some movies that are going to be released. I mean, the woman is 57 years old. And I'm looking on IMDb. She really doesn't have anything coming out now. But you can guarantee that she will get something. It may be a few years, but Hollywood is generally forgiving. They are. We've had other celebrities do some crazy things out there. But, this one really has a lot of public shame. And I guess we're living in a different new era right now where we're in the Twitter world right now. And I'm pretty sure Twitter is not going to be forgiving. But like I said before, I have to be objective here. Twitter is not real world. It's not. So these two ladies, Lori Loughlin, Felicity Huffman, they'll get crushed on Twitter. But they're in the Hollywood bubble. They'll be back. It may take a few years, but they'll definitely be back. And if not, they have enough money for the rest of their lives. They do. Felicity Huffman, let's see here, her net worth. Because I want you to know that they're going to be just fine. They're going to be absolutely just fine. Felicity Huffman is worth $20 million. $20 million. And her husband, William H. Macy, is worth $45 million. Yeah, they're going to be just fine. I mean, they're basically around 60, over 60. They're set for life. They don't have to work anymore for the rest of their lives. So if Hollywood did turn a blind eye to them or turn their bats on them, they'll be perfectly okay in their mansion to make it the rest of their lives. They will be. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up episode number 7 of the Matrixx Hour. Lori Loughlin is basically getting off scot-free. Felicity Huffman, William H. Macy, they're all going to be just fine. Don't cry tears for them. Don't cry tears for these celebrities in Hollywood. I know they're going to do hard time in prison, but they're going to be okay. I mean, 1 week in prison, man, that's a lot of time. I can't imagine anybody doing 1 week in prison. but they'll make it. They'll be okay. And their careers, it'll be okay after everything is done. But anyway, guys, that's going to be wrapping up this show. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, stay dry, stay clean, stay in good health, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Matrixx Hour with John Matrixx. Join us next time for pop culture, news, and reviews.